You're listening to Women's Media Center Live with Robin Morgan on 1580 Gov.biz Radio, a CBS station.
Welcome to Women's Media Center Live. I'm Robin Morgan. You are tuned to CBS radio station gov.biz 1580 AM in the Washington, D.C. area, or you're listening to us on the web at WMClive.com, where you can also find links to podcasts of previous shows. And a few days after each show, a transcript of the program posts at womensmediacenter.com. Listen, we want to hear from you. So tweet us to hashtag WMC Live or call the comment line 347-903-WMC1. Our guests this week are a wonderfully eclectic quartet. Maysoun Odeh is the founder of the first women's FM radio station in West Bank, Palestine. Aishah Shahidah Simmons, the award-winning African-American filmmaker, is here to reminisce about poet Audre Lorde on the 20th anniversary, my God, can it have been that long, of her death. Then we'll celebrate the 40th anniversary, has it been that long, of Ms. Magazine with the great Ellie Smeal. Last, actor Kathleen Turner will join us to discuss her one-woman hit show based on the life and wit of columnist Molly Ivins. But first, behind the headlines. What limbo does a story fall into when it never makes it to the front page? The lead for a few days was about Malala, the courageous 14-year-old Pakistani girl who was the target of a Taliban assassination attempt to punish her for campaigning for girls' education rights. This on the first United Nations International Day of the Girl Child. The world now knows Malala's story, as it should. But is she, as some coverage would imply, that unusual? Fortunately for humanity, no. There's 13-year-old Mary, who took on the Zambian government for refusing to act when her 8th-grade teacher raped her. There's 11-year-old Wafa, who defied Yemeni traditions and walked out of a child marriage. There's 15-year-old Mariam, who brought to justice her father, who had raped her, in Pakistan. There's 13-year-old Makeda, who still battles the Ethiopian government for mismanaging her case of rape, abduction, and forced marriage. That's just a sampling, compiled by Yasmin Hassan, Global Director of Equality Now. But it's a start. Who, after all, is the girl child? What does the word mean when suffocating guardianship laws reduce Saudi women, no matter how old, to the status of permanent minors, girl children for life? What does the word child mean when followed by the word marriage, whether in Nepal or Appalachia? When you're forcibly wed at age 9 as a second or third wife to a man your grandfather's age, when you somehow survive nightly rape and become pregnant at age 13, when you've given birth to 2 living babies and 2 stillborn ones by age 17, what difference does it make that you're a child and not a woman? What you know is that you're not male, which means you're not human. What you know is that you're female. And that means men drunk with psychotic religious fervor can denounce you as obscene for wanting to learn things. Men certain that a God as vicious as themselves and their ignorant mullahs will bless them for this act. Men who can look directly at your sweet, fresh face and fire bullets into it as you sit in your school bus on the first International Day of the Girl Child. Men who do not yet understand that you are not the only one, and all of you have just begun. Our next guest is Maysoun Odeh, who has the first women's radio program for Palestinian women. It's on Nisa FM radio. Are you coming from Ramallah?
Yes, we are coming
That's
from
where you
Ramallah.
are. And she is currently in town in New York, and we're lucky enough to get her for a brief period. Marhaba, welcome to Women's Media Center Live.
Marhaba, Robin. Thank you very much for having me.
Tell me, Maysoun, Palestinian women are particularly close to my heart because I was fortunate to spend quite a bit of time in the region some time ago. This is a first, Nisa, isn't it? I mean, and how did it come about, and how often is it on? And tell us about the radio program and the radio station.
Yeah. Well, as you said, Robin, this is the first commercial women radio station in Palestine and probably in the Middle East. We have come up with the idea 2 years ago. Back in June 2010, we launched it. And the whole idea is to give women a platform where they can exchange experiences. And because of the constraints that we have, whether social or political, women cannot get together on a regular basis. So I have come up with this idea to dedicate the airwaves for women to talk about their experiences and to inform and inspire other women on those experiences. We emphasize a lot on the positive role that women play in the Palestinian society. Therefore, we talk a lot about success stories. We also try as much as possible to use the radio as a medium to inform women and at the same time also empower women within media, meaning that we try also to generate employment for women inside the media so that they can be producers of news in their community rather than consumers. We all know that women can be a reporter, but most of the time the story is told or written by a male in our society.
Exactly. It's same thing here, I might add.
Yeah, so we wanted women to be able to investigate those stories and take them out and present them in their own voice. So that is the uniqueness of the whole of this radio station, Nisa. Women are empowered in the media. They hold senior positions. The station manager is a woman. The programming coordinator is a woman. The producer and presenters are women. We do have males working with us, and we work as partners. But basically, we are there to empower women in media and through media.
I love this. The motto of the Women's Media Center here is to make women visible and powerful in the media. Mm-hmm. Because, as you say, even here, even though we may now be in front of the camera more, the real power is concentrated. The people who define what is news, for that matter, mm-hmm. what are cutting-edge social issues, for that matter, are the ones behind the camera. And that's where women disappear. You don't see women. So this is amazing. I mean, because when I was in the region, I found Palestinian women and their stories deeply moving, incredibly courageous, sometimes particularly in the refugee camps, under appalling conditions, but always very positive, very strong, very, very funny, a wonderful sense of humor, and a great aesthetic sense, because the great art of Palestinian women, the great embroidery, which is, I'm looking right now at my cushions, and I have quite a bit of Palestinian embroidery. So how old is the station? This is a wonderful idea.
I mean, the station is now 2 years old, and you touched exactly on the point that we concentrate on, Robin, and that is women in, I don't like the word marginalized, but let's say in disadvantaged areas. Mm-hmm. We're talking about women in villages and in refugee camps who might have lost their husbands, or their husbands are in jail, or they never got the chance to finish their education, and so on. Yes. And these are the strong Palestinian women. These women were able to take their lives and to move it forward, either through small funds that they get from organizations, and then they were able to start up the whole family and educate their kids. So we do concentrate a lot on this segment of our society because they are really the change makers, as I like to call them. They are really strong women, as you just mentioned. They were able to survive all circumstances, whether political or social or economic, and they have this pride that we can now stand up on our feet, we can feed our children, we can create our projects, and so on. So in 2 years' time, we were able to actually interview lots of these women on our segment, which is called Tamkeen. And Tamkeen in Arabic means empowerment. So this segment on one of our radio shows interviewed women across the West Bank and the Gaza Strip even, and we've spoken about their experiences, how they were able, despite all odds, to make it. And we are, by the way, it's not one program. We are a radio station that broadcasts 24/7. So we have whole shows from the morning till the evening right now, till the afternoon, I must say, which are fully dedicated to women, to society, to men as well, because men and women are partners,
yes,
and also to kids and issues that relate to motherhood and the women at large. So we are totally dedicated in our programming to women, except on weekends, which is something that we plan when we get a chance to have full programming over Saturdays and Fridays.
You're ahead of us here because we don't have such a thing here.
Yes.
It always astonishes me. I mean, when I first came back from the region, I would go around saying, you don't understand. The Palestinians are the best educated, most sophisticated people in the region. And also there was a myth. Interestingly enough, I saw an interview with you, I think with a public radio station here, in which they were asking about the percentage of Palestinian women in the workforce, which is, if you look at the formal workforce, it's only about 16.5%. But what, of course, they didn't ask you was the percentage of Palestinian women who, quote, work. Because in terms of women's unpaid labor, they are working 24/7. I mean, when I was there, some of the men would say, our women don't work. And all I know is that everywhere I looked, they were working. Even in the camps, they were keeping their tiny huts clean. They were raising their kids. They were growing subsistence food in tiny gardens. They were not. The men were the ones who were sitting in taverns and talking politics and smoking and getting depressed.
You are absolutely right. We are talking about unregistered businesses and disguised employment, if I may call it that way.
Yes.
But you are right. Women are working, whether in her land, she's working and producing. She's growing vegetables, which eventually end up in a market, and she sells them and brings income to the house. She's working in a small workshop where they do embroidery and so on. That's absolutely right. That percentage is totally forgotten, and I know right now there are lots of organizations that offer microfunds to women in the villages and the refugee camps who are encouraging them to register in order to have some statistics on the employment of women and on the level of employment in that area. But I look at women, Palestinian women, Robin, as being always how can I say, they've always complemented men. They've always been together, working side by side on things. We might be in a very unique situation, as you mentioned earlier. We are very educated. The situation we are in made us stand hand in hand together in order to be able to make it. We see lots of households which are supported by women, and surprisingly, these households are the least poor than the households which are supported by men. So you can imagine how when a Palestinian woman works and she earns a living and she supports this household, the level of poverty is less than the one which is supported by a man.
That's just classic. It's classic. Listen,
it's classic, yes.
I'm so sorry because we have to go, but this was a wonderful interview. I'm so glad.
Thank you, Robin.
I'm so glad we connected. And if we can do anything at the Women's Media Center to be of help and of service to women in radio in Palestine, that would be fantastic. So,
thank you.
So, good luck. Shukran Atir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you
so much. And I'll be connecting with you soon.
That's wonderful. And my last words, which have, I was told, a Palestinian accent, but my few words in Arabic include the sentence, Bahibaka yukhti, which I think means I love you, my sister.
That's right. And I want to get your books, please. If I can't get them while I'm here, are they sold somewhere? Can I find them in New York or
Yes,
DC?
you can find them in New York, and I will also be sure that you get some. So
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you so much. We need to take a short break, while you can let us know what you're thinking. Call our comment line at 347-903-WMC1. I'm Robin Morgan, and this is Women's Media Center Live, the talk show with a brain. Next up, Remembering Audre Lorde with Aishah Shahidah Simmons and Verbal Karate. You don't want to miss either one. November 6th, that's Election Day. It's about your education. It's about your health care. It's about your reproductive rights. It's about your fair and equal pay, your community, your future. People have been jailed for the right to vote. People have died for the right to vote. It's about the future of this country. Your vote counts for many things. Take control. Be a full citizen. It's your right. Vote on Election Day and help others get to the polls.
You're listening to Women's Media Center Live with Robin Morgan on 1580 gov.biz radio, a CBS station.
This guest is very special. Aishah Shahidah Simmons is an African-American activist, feminist, artist, amazing filmmaker. I first encountered her work with the documentary No, which is a rape documentary, and it's a full-length film that is almost undescribable because it's about rape of African-American women, but every female person, and in fact every male, everybody on the planet should see it because it does something in terms of consciousness about rape and recovery that is extraordinary. It's a work of art as well as a work of documentary. Aishah, welcome to Women's Media Center Live.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, Robin. Thank you very much.
Well, also, I want to start out by talking about sort of asking you to report on recently, because on the celebration of the anniversary of Audre Lorde's having left us, which took place recently, and I know that you were one of the people who presented a paper along with a stellar list of folks. And tell us just something about the anniversary celebration. I can't hardly believe that it's been 20 years since Audre died. But tell I was not able to make it, so tell me about it.
Yes, it was an amazing gathering of people who have known her for decades and people who have never met her, such as myself, but who were profoundly influenced by her written word. It was hosted at Hunter College, and it is a multi-day celebration. And the first day, October 12th, was hosted at the Roosevelt House, which Blanche Wiesen Cook really just laid in her introductory comments to kind of open the gathering, really laid out Audre's just profound connection from her having her wedding ceremony there, the Poetry Center being there. So just really laid that out. I mean, and it was the Women in Gender Studies program really made it possible with the support of other entities. But I just feel like I have to just acknowledge Women in Gender Study programs.
Yes.
It was just a stellar list of people: Janetta Betch Cole, Ange Marie Hancock, Rich Blint, B. Cole from the Brown Boy Collective, Blanche Wiesen Cook, Elizabeth Lord Rollins, who is Audre's daughter, Robert Reed Farr, Lynn Roberts, Cheryl Clark, Jewel Gomez, Asha Bandele, Claire Cross, Amina Baraka, Donna Massini, Rosalind Pacheski, Nina Alexander. I mean, just the list.
Right.
Just went on in terms of, I mean, it didn't go on and on, but it was just such an amazing group. And fortunately, it was live streamed, and they've archived it. So even if you did miss it, you won't miss it, because it is available on the Roosevelt House's live stream, and that's new.livestream.com/Roosevelt House/Audre Lorde. But if you Google Celebration Audre Lorde, you will come up to anyone can reach the Hunter's page that will link you directly there. So just Google Celebration Audre Lorde, and it will take you to Hunter's page that lists everybody who presented. The films that were screened on Saturday, we screened A Litany for Survival by Ada Gay Griffin and Michelle Parkerson, as well as The Edge of Each Other's Battles by Jennifer Abad. And this coming Tuesday on Hunter's main campus, they will be screening Dagmar Schultz's Audre Lorde, The Berlin Years, which really chronicles her life in Berlin and her profound impact from 1984 to 1992. I think.
That sounds amazing. The whole festival sounds incredible. What did you say in your paper?
I encountered Audre Lorde in 1990 when I was struggling with coming out as a lesbian, and a very dear sister friend, feminist lesbian named Holly Van Ness loaned me her book, Sister Outsider.
And that did it.
And that from then on, my life, she loaned it to me in April. I still have my copy from May 16th, 1990 that I showed during my talk, and just talked about how she transformed my life, being able to talk about, which links directly to my film No, how, I was at that point, I was a survivor of rape. I had an abortion. I always just feel really important to talk about that given what's at stake now in this political climate. So I was fortunate to have a safe and legal abortion at a women's health center in Philadelphia in 1989. And Audre, just her words, and even though I never met her, just challenged me and pushed me to come out. And not only like just come out and be a lesbian, just like, rah, I'm a lesbian, but to be engaged in feminist, radical, political events. So it was like being out as a black feminist lesbian globally.
I must say that having known her and loved her, and she could be a touchy, difficult friend. I mean, she was not low maintenance. She could be a diva. I used to call her the Queen Mother. She had and I used to say, you think you can walk on water? And she said, yeah. And I said, but then on the other hand, you can. But what was most moving and valuable about her always to me was that she insisted on the wholeness of herself. She always had that wonderful long list. I am a lesbian, feminist, black woman, warrior, poet. I mean, the list went on. And you take all of me, by God. You don't just separate out and like this part of me, but think you can triage the rest. I am the wholeness of me. And it was always an amazing lesson. And the other thing that she would always say was, it's good that I have a son because it helps keep me honest. Because otherwise I would hate all men, but I know now that in fact all men don't have to be. I mean, she was the most ironically inclusive, like a Renaissance woman, and she was of course a very fine poet. I hope people read poems.
Yes. Oh, there was a whole poetry reading with Asha Bandele and Amina Baraka and Donna Massini and Melinda Goodman, Cheryl Clark, Aza, Donna Weir-Soley. I mean, Jewel Gomez.
Good,
yes,
good,
definitely. And
good.
There was a whole panel called "Poetry is Not a Luxury," in addition to the poetry readings.
Yeah. The last conversation I had with her was on the phone, and it was around the time when she wrote "But Not Today." I will die and so forth, but not today. And we had this amazing conversation. It still breaks me up. And she said, so you got to keep on living, and all of you got to keep on the work. And tell me, Robin, don't you think that the young ones really get it? And I said, yes, I think they really do, Audre. And I think you've laid down a most amazing legacy. And she said, you really think so? You really think so? And we were both crying. And then she said, I got to go. And I said, I love you. And she said, I love you. And everything will be okay, she said. And off she went, So there's hardly a day that I don't, miss her and think about her. Listen, on another subject, because we have to keep on keeping on, tell me what's happening with the great documentary, No, and what are you doing now next?
Yes, she is living fiercely and ferociously, joining the chorus of voices, global chorus of voices to eradicate sexual violence. I mean, so with No being subtitled in Spanish, French, and Portuguese, she is really having a life in South America, in French and Spanish-speaking and Portuguese-speaking countries in the world as well. It's obviously in English, but it's really that has been phenomenal.
And
so
it's used as a teaching tool.
It is used, yeah. Colleges and universities, I mean, I just received 3 orders today, are using it as teaching tools here in the United States as well as in Canada. And then I just received a request in Colombia. They want to actually do a national Colombia, the country. They want to do a national broadcast of the film.
Wow.
And so it is, I'm really and it's been extensively in Eastern and Western Europe. It's powerful. So, I completed it in 2006, and unfortunately, which is a comment on the state of the world, it's still relevant. And so, it's doing its work. And I am now an adjunct professor in women's and LGBT studies at Temple University. So really elated to be able to teach a class titled Gay and Lesbian Lives, 2 sections. So that, of a class called Gay and Lesbian Lives. Again, another legacy of Audre Lorde and so many. You as well, Robin, in terms of the fact that these courses exist. And next semester, I will be teaching a graduate and undergraduate course titled that I'm developing Audre Lorde, the life and work of a silence breaker. So I am taking a break from filmmaking because Making No kicked my ass. It was, excuse my language, but
no.
12 years.
Yeah, it only took 12 years. What are you complaining?
Yes, single digits in the checking account. And so I'm doing much more writing. I'm a member of the editorial collective of the Feminist Wire, which has been amazing. And so putting I don't want to say pen to paper, but using the typewriter on the computer, using my keyboard to screen.
This is very good, very good.
So that's where I am.
Well, clearly you're just hopelessly lazy. I mean, you're just lolling around your swimming pool doing nothing. I'm so glad you exist. I'm so glad that you're doing all the work that you're doing, and I'm so glad that you made the time to visit with us on Women's Media Center Live.
I am glad too. And can I just say the website for No is Know the Rape Documentary. So one word, knowtherapedocumentary.org. Please visit us.
Please do, because it is an experience that you need to have and will never be the same afterward. Thanks so much, and come back again soon.
I will. Thank you, Robin, and keep moving forward.
And now it's time for Verbal Karate. In celebration of the 40th anniversary of Ms. Magazine and of its current publisher, who is our next guest, today's Verbal Karate move will be about the word Ms. itself, as based on the work of word guru Rosalie Maggio, who is currently collaborating with the Women's Media Center on a future book to be called Unspinning the Spin. MS period, pronounced Ms., was first used in the United States in secretarial manuals of the 1940s, although some scholars say it originated in the 17th century in England. This title is status-free in that you cannot tell if a woman is married or not. When it came into popular usage with the magazine's name, some people objected to it precisely on those status grounds, although somehow we've managed for centuries to get along without knowing whether a Mr. is married or not. According to the American Heritage Book of English Usage, quote, the term stands as a highly successful language reform, probably because people value its usefulness, close quote. The plural is MSES period or MSS period. Now, 2 karate chops in honor of Ms. The word. 1. In 1972, Congresswoman Bella Abzug passed her Ms. Bill, which forbade the federal government to use prefixes indicating marital status, and they haven't used it from that day on. But, 2, the New York Times, which under executive editor Abe Rosenthal kept using spokesman and chairman for women even when they were serving in those capacities, still refused to use Ms. Finally, in June of 1986, after almost 20 years of lobbying by feminists, the Times acknowledged in an editor's note that the term Ms. had become common usage and accordingly would be adopted as an honorific in news columns and when an identity of a woman is unknown, that is, if it's not known that she's a Mrs. or doesn't prefer the Mrs. Rosenthal himself had ordered the change. Gloria Steinem sent him flowers. And Rosenthal called her up and said, "Oh, well, if I'd known it mattered that much to you, I would have done it much earlier." It made her teeth grind. Time to take another pause, during which you can tweet us at #WMC Live. When we return, we'll talk with the one and only Ellie Smeal about Ms. Magazine turning 40. Is that the same 40 that's what 30 used to be? And where Ms. goes from here, we'll talk about that too, so stick around. A treat for those in the nation's capital. On October 25th, the Women's Media Center will honor the work and life of journalist Molly Ivins at the arena stage production of Red Hot Patriot, starring Kathleen Turner. Turner joins WMC board member Gloria Felt at a special post-play reception for the Women's Media Center. For tickets, email redhotpatriot@womensmediacenter.com.
You're listening to Women's Media Center Live with Robin Morgan on 1580 Gov.biz Radio, a CBS station.
Our next guest is the one and only Ellie Smeal. Eleanor Smeal needs no introduction, but I'll do a very cursory one anyway. She simply is one of the great architects of the contemporary drive for women's equality. She's a political analyst, she's a strategist, she's a grassroots organizer. She was the president of National Organization for Women and made it what it is today, I think. And she is the founder and president of Feminist Majority Foundation. And so much legislation that has been passed in the last decades is due to her tireless lobbying and organizing. And she is the publisher, Feminist Majority Foundation is the publisher of Ms. Magazine. So the reason that we're talking with Ellie today about that, other than the 1,001 other things we could be discussing, is that this is the 40th anniversary of Ms. So congratulations, Ellie, and welcome to Women's Media Center Live.
Oh, thank you, and congratulations to you, too.
Well, talk about the fact that you seem to be publishing a magazine that is the flagship publication of the women's movement, and it's 40 years old. How can this be?
I know. It's our youth. It's mid-age now, but in many ways it's appealing just like it did before to young people. We're on college campuses. We have a very diverse population, and online it is principally young people.
Well, you've taken the magazine online. I mean, in the years when I was editor-in-chief, we were not online, and you've made it a very large online presence.
Yes, we're very proud of it. We have a very large Twitter, blogging, and Facebook contingent, and basically it's very live and very active.
This is not your mother's Oldsmobile anymore either, is it?
No, well, it's changed a lot because we're entering this digital age. It's very exciting because, as you know, it's always been global. Ms. has been read all over the world. But now you can hear from them instantly, and you can see where it's being picked up. I love these analytics that you can actually see the very countries and the cities and where it's being read. So it's very, very exciting.
There are plans for various celebrations, right, and events.
Yes, well, we've been doing a bang-up job. We actually decided to jump it and to start before the anniversary. So we started in January in Silicon Valley, and we've been all over the country, and I think that's appropriate because Ms. has definitely affected the national debate.
Yeah, it's really part of women's lives. It's deep in the fabric there. And I must say, at the point when Gloria and I were looking for a new parent for the magazine, it had been through a number of foster homes to complete the analogy. The only place that both of us knew it would be not only safe but reinvigorated and magnificent was with you. And so we kind of stuck you with it.
Well, I think it's been a good venture, and it's been joint because you all have been very helpful every inch of the way.
Well, the Ms. is like, in The Godfather, where Al Pacino says, just when you think you're out, they pull you back in.
You're not done yet.
No, not done, not dead yet.
You're part of the family.
I am still part of the family.
You often.
I'm still part of the family.
And as you know, you're the global editor, so you're definitely...
Yeah, no, right, exactly. They pull you back in, and I'm still honored to be associated with it, particularly under your hegemony. I don't know that our listeners know that much about the college program of FMF and Mrs. part in it, so I'd like you to talk about that for a little bit, because I think it's absolutely crucial to the next wave, or the tsunami that we are, the ongoing permanent wave.
Well, the Feminist Majority has groups on about 600 campuses throughout the country. And that's community colleges, public universities, private universities that are 4-year as well as 2-year. And we're in 45 states now. Now, in addition to that, Ms. has a program called Ms. in the Classroom, and it's all over the country, in which professors use it as one of its readings or texts is for what's going on in the contemporary women's movement. And it's being used in journalism classes and women's studies and political science, social work, a whole host of different disciplines. So we're very excited about that. And so it's basically on colleges we have a very large presence.
That is so important because, Women's Media Center is focused on making women, as we put it, visible and powerful in the media. And first you have to get visible before you can be powerful. And there still is so much misinformation, as you know, and spin and disinformation that the idea that Ms. is out there truth-telling and doing so at a college level to reach young women is just incalculably important.
Right, and we have a Ms. Scholars group. Ms. always has had it. This group is very, very active, and it gives us diversity of specialties among professors, and they do all of our book reviews. So there's a whole academic component to it, but also it's very relevant and very up to date in its coverage. So
how do you go ahead?
The other thing that you can do on that we're doing on the college campuses is that it's a special site, and it has the archives. And it doesn't have all of them, but it does have some of them. And what we're looking into now, and this is not just college, but we're looking into going digital for the regular member, so that we're going to have an app. We're announcing it this month. And so that we can, in both sections, we would like to eventually be able to embed video and audio with the magazine.
Oh, that's so cool. The Ms. app.
Yeah, the Ms. app. It's going to be soon available, probably by the end of the month.
Wow. Oh, that makes me feel like we've really arrived in the 21st century.
Oh, we are. We're definitely, and I personally think that this century is going to be a breakthrough for women. I think obviously last half of the last century was certainly a huge giant step forward, but I think that this one is going to truly be global and truly have a lot of advances.
There's an amazing book, Ellie, that I've been meaning to mention to you, that I did not write, but that we're going to have the author on the show in a few weeks. It's called Sex and World Peace, and it's a group of academics who have finally assembled the empirical proof to what folks like you and me and the rest of us have been saying for 40 years, which is that the way you judge a society in terms of its aggression, its militarism, its productiveness, its quality of life, is by how it treats its women. Right. And the centrality of women. So the academics made honest women of us finally.
Well, I think that that what we're seeing, even though it's not what we want, violence is still very prevalent against women. But there are advances, certainly in education, literacy, and and I would rather us accentuate the positive, especially when we're celebrating an anniversary. But it is true. I mean, women's studies now is worldwide, and we forget even in the poorest of countries now, there's getting to be more and more educational opportunities for girls, and more nonprofits and the United Nations and governments are understanding that if they're going to have an advanced society, if we're going to deal with this technological revolution, half the population must be educated. And so I feel that there will be significant progress, even though in a given day you turn on the television set and you could just about wring your hands.
Yeah.
But I do think we're moving forward.
We are. I don't wring my hands as long as you're on the planet. If you were not on the planet, I would have a lot of. Remember when Pat Schroeder said you can't wring your hands and roll up your sleeves at the same time?
I know, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, and so we're just too damn busy rolling up our sleeves.
That's exactly.
Thank you so much for being on Women's Media Center Live, and come back many times and bestow your wisdom and your energy on us. And thank you for being the mother of Ms. and bringing it to its 40th anniversary.
Well, thank you, and make sure all your listeners get the new Ms. Go on the website, get into the blog, and soon you'll have an app if you're online. But I also love the print copy. By the way, this issue has an updated Wonder Woman to celebrate the first issue.
It's a great cover. It really is. Thanks again, Ellie, and much love to you. Big hug. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Now for news you can use. As you might know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and 3 women lose their lives every single day to this crime. Meanwhile, the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Bill is up, and we need to get Congress on this. We need to make sure that VAWA is an election issue and a priority for every legislator during the lame duck session in Congress when they come back from the election through the end of the year. We need to keep the pressure on. So you need to get in touch with or tweet or email or phone your representatives and your senators. They're home campaigning now. You can call their district offices, or you can get to them in the Capitol. And here are 2 places where you can find addresses and contact numbers for them. For the Senate, www.senate.gov/general/contact_information/senators. For the House, www.house.gov/representatives/find. Worst comes to worst, you can go to Google and say, how do I find my senator? How do I find my congressman? Those are not meant as ironic questions. We'll take one more break here. I'm Robin Morgan, and you are listening to Women's Media Center Live, the talk show with a brain. We'll be back in just a minute with the cello-voiced Kathleen Turner on Playing Molly Ivins. Funny, do not go away. Mark your calendars. On November 13, the WMC Women's Media Awards will celebrate 5 journalists for their contributions. The recipients are Pat Mitchell, President and CEO of the Paley Center for Media, Martha Nelson, Editorial Director of Time, Inc., Laura Ling, Correspondent for Current TV and Vice President of Vanguard Journalism Unit, Lisa Ling, host of Oprah Winfrey Network's Our America with Lisa Ling, and Sarah Hoy, all-platform journalist at CNN. To buy tickets and sponsorships to the Women's Media Awards in New York, contact mediaawards@womensmediacenter.com.
You're listening to Women's Media Center Live with Robin Morgan on 1580 Gov.biz Radio, a CBS station.
And we are here with the amazing, great Kathleen Turner. She with the voice with the voice like a cello, and fresh from a great success at Californication, and an even fresher from an even greater success at this extraordinary one-woman play based on the wit and wisdom of Molly Ivins, the columnist and savvy guru of politics.
The Sage. Political humorist.
Yes, exactly. Called Red Hot Patriot, which is playing at the Arena Stage in Washington, D.C. So those of you who are hearing this in any striking or driving or crawling distance to Washington, D.C., get there and watch this. And Kathleen is very generous.
I'm afraid I have to tell you that we are completely sold out.
Well, see, there you go.
There is not even standing room left. I'm sorry, but I'll do it again, I promise.
You better.
It's not for a while, yeah.
She's very graciously consented to doing a benefit on October 25th for the Women's Media Center, and we're in your debt and grateful to you for that. Tell me, how did this begin, what seems to be a perfect match, you and Molly Ivins?
Well, it is, and the more I do it, the longer I do it, the more it feels, I don't know, I hesitate to use the word fated. What happened originally was that I serve on the board of People for the American Way for many, many years, 40 years now, I believe. In any case, Margaret and Allison Engel, who were themselves journalists, Margaret is still a journalist. Allison is teaching at USC. They decided upon Molly's death in 2007 that they had to write a play about Molly Ivins. So they put it together, and Allison, one of Allison's dear friends, is a man named Jim Hormel, who serves on the board with me. So they very craftily got him a script, knowing, of course, that I would read whatever was given to me by a fellow board member.
Sure.
And, of course, I knew Molly somewhat, and it was, I just thought right off the bat, it was a wonderful idea. And although at that time, a couple of years ago, the play certainly needed more work, which every play starting out does.
Of course.
Okay, but I said, yes, absolutely, I wanted to go ahead with this. So we took it to the Philadelphia Theater Company, and along with the director, David Espedornson, and with the help of another writer, a great writer, Jeffrey Hatcher, we whipped this into a play. So, performed it at the Philadelphia Theater Center, and then the Geffen Theater in Los Angeles asked if I would bring it out there, which I did in December, January, and February of this year. But it was always in my mind that I wanted, and the Engels as well, that we wanted to get it here in Washington before the election.
Oh, wow.
Because to me, so much of what Molly has to say is still, of course, incredibly current and pertinent to today. And moreover, I knew it would also give me a platform, access, to speak out about the threat to women in this election, of which I am desperately and impassionedly, is that a word, impassionedly?
Well, we're just making it. We invented it.
Determined to address.
Yeah, well, it's a war on women, you're quite right. I mean, and we've got to rise up and respond to it. This is a wonderful way, of course, because art goes where nothing else goes. It goes in under the radar, and if you can make people laugh in recognition or feel, it's better than all the rhetoric in the world. You know it, and I know.
Well, that's one of the Molly Ivins lines. She says, "Jokes are very important to me." She says, "A fact you may have gleaned by now, but they are a means to an end. When you make someone laugh, they open up their ears and hear you."
Yes. Dare I ask, I mean, important as it is, and it is, that you're in D.C. and at this time, dare I ask, is this the kind of thing that you would ever consider, onerous as it is, touring with?
Well, we actually have offers from Oh heavens, Betsy! All over the country.
I'm sure.
You know, to bring the praise there. But the things I may be doing for some years, not continually. I will be. I mean, the day after I finish here, I'm going to New Haven to start another play that I'll be directing and starring in up at the Long Wharf Theater that I might bring into New York in the spring. So this piece, this Molly Ivins, the Red Hot Patriots, I'll be doing on and off, I think, for some time. But it was imperative to me to do it now in Washington.
It's wonderful timing. Did you know her? Had you met her?
Yes.
You did?
Well, because through People for the American Way, one of our main our priorities is protection of the First Amendment, which was close and dear to Molly's heart, of course. And so she was our keynote speaker one year at a major event, and I got to know her through to other activisms, you know, with Planned Parenthood,
right,
with the ACLU, and then the extraordinary chance was I live and always have in New York City, and I walked into my building one day, and Ann Richards had taken an apartment there while she was having her treatments for her final illness, and the two of them, Ann and Molly, were standing in the lobby. And they looked at each other, and they looked at me, and they said, "Well, you're just coming with us." And that's what I guess I am.
Oh, I bet you are.
Yeah. So we went up to Ann's apartment and had some time together.
What a trio.
Oh, we had fun.
Yeah, I bet you had fun. And I think Molly even wrote...
I pretty much kept my mouth shut, honey. Those two didn't need any help.
Well, if you have Richards and Ivins in stereo, what else do you need? I think Molly wrote a few speeches, in fact, for Anne at a certain point.
Yes, she did. Yeah. And, of course, when Molly coined the term shrub, Anne was very happy to pick that up.
Oh, yes, you just bet she was. What an amazing story, and a good trio of people. And for people I can't imagine any of our listeners don't know, but in case some hapless soul does not know, that separation of church and state is the main thrust of the energy and work of People for the American Way.
Very much so. We have the Right Wing Watch, which you can go to online and check out some of the extraordinary actions that now threaten us. Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty scary. A few years ago, the last election time to that, I threw together a book called Fighting Words, which was a toolkit for combating the religious right, mainly.
Oh, excellent.
Mainly to take back the framers and their own quotes about how this is not a Christian nation and how secular they were, how some of them were atheists.
Yeah, and this is an ongoing battle that that the right has done very well with.
Yes, it has.
Coining phrases that seem to to declare one thing, but really are about something else.
Yeah, I think at least the battle is joined, and they've now made women so damn angry that even the women who thought feminism was over or done with or something are rising again and saying, "Just a bloody."
It's not even a question of feminism anymore. It's truly our basic rights and health.
It's democracy.
Yeah, it's not about and one of the things that I have great difficulty trying to understand all these male pundits, which of course are endless, is this talk as though the social agenda, i.e., women's issues, are a separate something separate from the economy.
Yes,
which of course is ridiculous because we are 51%. We are the economy.
We are the majority.
So this sexism to declare that to say the economy is the most important issue is absurd because you can't have an economy without the earning power and work of women.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so sorry that we have to go. I could talk and listen to you, especially.
Oh, we certainly could, couldn't we?
For ages. Yeah, one of those, how women will talk. I could listen to you for a long time. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure.
Bravissima on Red Hot Patriot and on all the rest of your work, and we'll be watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye now. And now it's fighting words. Being a news junkie, it never occurred to me that 24/7 TV news coverage wouldn't be a great thing, so when CNN was born, I was over the moon with delight. Naive, pathetic sap. Thinking an all-news channel would be, I don't know, all news? Real news, not a now-and-then report with lots of, oh, the horror of it, filler. I did not think about what they'd do if major news was not breaking. Partly I didn't think about that because major news is always breaking somewhere, depending on whether you think it's major news or not, that the entire nation of the Maldives, comprised of 1,200 islands, is sinking into the Indian Ocean due to rising ocean levels because of climate change and melting polar ice caps. The Maldivians think it's major news. They inhabit only 200 of the islands, but still. Anyway, I hadn't considered that it all depended on one's definitions of major, news, and somewhere. Apparently, for instance, the Maldives, not to harp on them, there are lots of other examples, apparently the Maldives are insufficiently somewhere to qualify. Unlike, say, Washington, D.C., even if it's a zoo panda story, New York, even if it's Fashion Week coverage, or Hollywood. Flash! Lindsay Lohan's parole revoked again. Only when abroad do you realize how provincial, solipsistic, and superficial coverage, especially international coverage, is in the United States, as opposed to, for instance, the way the real whole world is covered by the BBC, or by the BBC-trained reporters at, yes, Al Jazeera English. Of course, CNN and MSNBC are still addictive in a crisis, or a live event, like a debate or an election. And as a normal occurrence, they do present an hour or so of real news, however buried it is in the other 23, where it then recycles like a soda can, instead of filling the time covering, I don't know, the Maldives. Sorry to fixate on that, but seriously, how would you feel if your entire country was day by day sinking beneath the waves like a mythical Atlantis, and nobody in the so-called industrial world seemed to care or even know about it? Wait till the sea laps at your ankles on the island of Manhattan, or washes away the sand at Malibu, the Maldivians probably mutter darkly. Then you'll see. Then it'll be news. But then it'll be too late. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Think of the information you could get to people. But like democracy, people need to demand it to get it. The same thing holds true for a representative media that would reflect the realities of the whole populace. Newsflash. That industry would be worthy of the name communications. And that's it for this week. You've been listening to us on CBS station 1580 gov.biz AM radio in Washington, D.C., and on the web at WMClive.com, where you can find podcasts of previous shows, too. A few days after each program, a transcript posts at womensmediacenter.com. Portions of this program were taped earlier. Views expressed here do not necessarily represent the Women's Media Center, and here is the family for Women's Media Center Live. WMC President and for this program Executive Producer Julie Burton, Senior Producer Crystal Williams Chancellor, Technical Director Michelle Kinsey Bruns, and Production Assistant Nora Eakin. I'm Robin Morgan. Thanks for listening. Next week, Charlene Hunter-Gault and the Women Drummers of Rwanda, plus a book that is literally going to change the world. Lots more, too, so join us on Saturday at 11 a.m. here at Women's Media Center Live.
Women's Media Center Live is brought to you by Regina Kulik Scully, our founding sponsor. You're listening to Women's Media Center Live with Robin Morgan on 1580 gov.biz radio, a CBS station.